What is up, everybody? It's been a while since my last episode, but I have made quite a bit of progress. To start off, I did this entire storage system in between episodes, and I already organized and put everything where it needs to be, so that's one thing I did. The second thing I did is I also expanded the streets a lot, so this, all of this is new. And what I will be doing in today's episode is I will be making the interior for the storage system super nice, and I will also be building an exterior to the storage system. And you can see I did leave myself quite a bit of space behind all the chests, so I will be able to build whatever I want. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, quick little progress report. I worked a lot on the front end of the building trying to figure out how I want the building in general to look like, and I came up with this. This is like the 5th iteration of the front because I want it to like fit my idea. Like before, all this stone was tough and a bunch of other stuff. Like behind this, there was no little insignia behind there. But as you can see, there's a few building techniques included as well. Like especially in the windows, it's actually 3 layers, being the iron bars, then glass, and then the actual small design behind it. And the glass is not all like one type of glass. There's some green tinted glass, some white tinted glass up here, and the rest in general is gray. And there's some light sources at the bottom, so it also glows a bit during the night. I low-key spammed a little bit of deep slate, I'm not gonna lie. If I were to state an inspiration, it would be kind of like the Chrome Hearts designs. One issue that I had to find a way around when building this front end is that when I built the door, it seemed way too big, like proportionally, because if you look around the city, everything is kind of human-sized. Like you can expect a Minecraft character to walk through here, to live there, and that sort of stuff. But this gate was way too big, and it didn't really make too much sense. So I added this kind of small tunnel to make the actual entrance a lot smaller and more realistic. And I think that worked out pretty decently, I'd say. I'm not too sure. And now I'm grappling with the idea of adding something on top here, because this does seem kind of square and I don't really like the outline of it, so I want to add something at the top, but I'm still not too sure what to add. So I think I'm just gonna finish the like exterior walls and everything and just kind of copy the design at the back there without the door, and just go on from there. But I think this is the general vibe I'm going for this building. But there's a different vibe that I want for the interior, and you can see me start to build like interior walls here already. And something that's pretty cool about this building is you don't really realize how thick it is. Like this whole tunnel here, this is basically the wall. Like this is how thick the wall is, and it's kind of necessary to create that depth that you get on the outside, as well as have some depth on the inside. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to figure out a design for the side walls here as well, but it's going to keep this same type of aesthetic. Okay, so here's a progress report. I made quite a bit of progress. I did both sides of the wall, so you can see there, and you can also see here that I finished up the walls, as well as the back, but it looks basically the same as this. And I've made progress on the interior as well, so you can see this whole style is kind of present now. And right now, what I want to start with is making the ceiling of this place, and I want it to be really intricate. But the thing is, I'm not too sure how I want to do it yet. But I guess we'll wait and see. I think I want to have it a bit lighter or something. I'm not too sure though. Alright, so I finished the interior, and I, set up this little roof here. I think it's a pretty cool looking roof. I do actually really enjoy making roofs seem interesting. And yeah, you can see I built the roof with some support beams, mostly using blackstone. I used a lot of blackstone walls and some black glass to give a bunch of texture, and I think it looks pretty nice. But let me know, do you prefer this roof or do you prefer this roof? Because I'm really not sure. This is one of the first actual big, nice builds I actually made for the casino, and I really like this support beam here, and I think the other place is missing a little bit of that, but let me know, guys. Let me know. Anyway, technically this would mark the end of the video because I finished up this whole storage system here. However, with the roof, the structure we have now does not manage to fit all of it. And you can see here the little road I was talking about. So I also want to include the road here, connecting it to this building, moving this up, maybe adding some other building bits and bobs and see how that goes, so I can finally start to get a good sense of how this whole street will start to look like. Okay, so I made a bunch of progress on the bridge. It's basically done now. It's not really that difficult of a design, and it can be replicated on and on, which I think I might add a bit in that direction. But it's just nice and simple. The bridge turned out a little bit thicker than I expected it to, but I think it's still fine. Some areas are unfinished, but that's just because they're going to be building up walls here. It's just going to look just fine. And this is what it looks like inside the bridge, and nice little ceiling roof design here. The back isn't finished, I'm not going to lie. I'll finish that later. But for right now, I think I want to continue and build up the surrounding wall. So all the walls around here and around there, and just kind of build this whole building up. Okay, so I got a bit carried away. So I finished this part here, but as you as you can see, I also added a few buildings on top over here. So basically, what I did with all of these buildings is I copied kind of the general design of this building over here, but kind of switched up the colors, maybe made the windows a bit bigger and just placed on top of each other. So now you can really see like this whole block start to shape up and go to the skies, which is really what I wanted. I also increased the bridge a bit more in that direction, so you know it seems more normal. It was just like copy and paste though, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, it's crazy. We're literally only 7 minutes into the video, and I've built all of this whole bridge, all these streets in between episodes, the whole storage system between episodes. So, yeah, that's my bad. I guess I should have made more videos for you guys. But I think at this point, it doesn't make sense to just finish the episode here. I think I might as well just finish this whole building here. So just finish this side and the back side as well. And when building, of course, I add tons of little details and stuff. So you can see this is kind of like a support beam for the building that's going to go on top for the bridge. And if you actually go inside, you can get into the interior of the building that's like placed above here, which is pretty cool, I think. And there's of course still other passageways for buildings yet to come, and I think that's pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do this building next and just go on and on until this whole block is finished. And I'm really liking how this is turning out. I'm not gonna lie. This is exactly what I had in mind for the whole city, of it just being super vertical, and now that I'm beginning to achieve that, I'm really liking it. So yeah. Okay, so I was walking past this building here to look up at what I was building to make sure it was looking proper and everything, and I noticed this Enderman sound, and I saw this Enderman in here. This Enderman has fully been griefing my whole bottom area here. I don't even know how I don't even know how he got in there. He's been there for so long. Look at all these dirt blocks that he just moved around. Just griefed. Excuse me, sir. Maybe I should have kept it in there as like a resident, but I didn't like how he was griefing me, so... There we go, back to normal. Anyway, I built this little area here because I want this bridge to continue in this direction. So I want there to be like a little support beam here. I think that would make a lot of sense. And I also built this building here, like I said. It's a really simple building, but I might try to actually put a bunch of buildings all over this like bridge, so it like really fills up the skyline, but I'm not too sure. the building looks good as it is there, and oh, this whole block is looking kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. One thing I've noticed though is if you look at the builds themselves, and you like really compare them to my older builds, like this here, this is the first like buildings I made in this style. These buildings are like crazy detailed, like there's all these blocks everywhere, and they're also different, and it's so much more detailed. And I kind of regret that I've been taking things relatively quick, and all these buildings don't have that same treatment I had over there. But at the end of the day, I think since like buildings like these are larger scale, and like especially up there, you don't really notice all these details anyway, although it would be nice to like add some accents and everything. But what I regret more is like down here, like this whole section here, it's all kind of like too, I don't want to say not detailed, but it doesn't have the same type or aesthetic that I would want. So that's like one thing I kind of find troubling with this like new area here of builds. But yeah, I'm gonna continue this bridge here, you know, add all these buildings I still need to add in the back over here, and then that should be good. Okay, so I made a little building here, which is kind of a small hotel. It's a bit more detailed, which I really like, just like how this turned out in general. Looks nice from the street view, looks nice from above, so it's really just a good building. And I also started work on this side as well, just added this little building in with this thing here. I'm not really sure what they are, but they're there. And I think for this video, I'm just going to be building up these three sides, so that side there, this side here, and this side here, because I don't really know what I want to do going on to this side. Like maybe I'll want to extend it like with some overhangs in this direction too. So I'm gonna leave that open for another day, especially since I've extended the road a bit here, so you can see like there might be a little tunnel or something going here. So yeah, this just leaves room to make things more interesting later on. Alright, so here we have the final finished side of the whole block. And you can see this is like the kind of part that you already saw before, and this whole thing is new. So as I was building all these like smaller buildings, like this white thing here and this gray one here, it kind of seemed to me like it was just kind of a jumbled mess of smaller buildings. So I wanted to add some more structure to it by adding these buildings that, you know, have structure to them and have these windows and actually look a lot like residential buildings. So I added this building and that building, and to some extent that building too, to still make it seem like residential, and then all these smaller ones kind of fill in the gaps and don't like bother your eyes that much, if that makes sense. And if we go all the way up here, you can see that this place is all flat. I might make a rooftop design sometime soon, and that tunnel that went to the other building just continues on this way, and will all be connected here. So yeah, now I have a perfect opportunity to connect this thing to whatever will come in this plot here, with the bridge and everything that's going on there, the pathway and everything. This still needs to be finished, but who knows, I might do something special. And yeah, that's about it for this video. We did this, basically this whole building here. Like if you remember at the start of the video, we had just finished the actual storage system, and now we have this whole thing with the bridge and everything. And I also made a little bit of progress here, which is where my villagers were, and I have like 3 automatic wheat producers, so I'll be able to use like anything that wheat produces. And I've also moved most of my villagers in here in a more structured position than they were just in here. And now I'm using this place just as like my villager breeder. Yeah. And the way this works is there's a villager in here, and whenever he harvests anything, minecart with a hopper will just pick it up and put it in this chest over here. And that's the same for all these three. And these ones, since there's a villager here, they'll produce like bread, and that'll be my food source from now on, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's the end of my episode. This is the most progress I've made in a single episode ever, just by quantity of vlogs and everything, except maybe the episode where I built this giant fucking wall for no reason. Well, for a reason, but you'll have to see that video. So yeah, I'll try to make more consistent uploads. I know this has been 8 months coming, but yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Maybe it was worth the wait, and I'll see you in the next one.